Imagine a moment when the person you trusted most, someone you believed, embodied love, loyalty, and commitment, turns around and betrays you in a way that leaves your world in ruins. One day you wake up feeling secure and cherished. The next, you find yourself surrounded by the wreckage of broken promises and deep deception. Betrayal is often described as a silent dagger that cuts deeper than any visible wound. It not only shatters the trust you once held dear, but also challenges your very sense of reality. I too have walked this painful path. There were times when I questioned my ability to love and be loved. In those moments of profound hurt, I turned to the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that does not deny the pain of betrayal, but offers a clear, rational pathway to reclaiming your inner strength. Rather than forgiving every betrayal without question, Stoicism teaches us to stand by our principles, protect our inner peace, and never tolerate toxic behavior that compromises our integrity. Today, I want to share with you 9 specific betrayals in relationships that, in my view, should never be forgiven. Each betrayal not only undermines trust, but also erodes the very foundation of a healthy relationship. I'll walk you through each type of betrayal, sharing personal stories and practical examples from my own life. By the end of this exploration, you will have a better understanding of where to draw the line in relationships and how to protect yourself from further harm, all while embracing a Stoic mindset that values self-respect above all else. 1. Repeated lying. One of the most corrosive forms of betrayal is repeated lying. A single lie might be brushed aside as a human error, but when deception becomes habitual, it destroys the very foundation of trust. Truth is a high virtue in Stoic philosophy, and lies, especially those that recur, distort reality and signal that the other person does not respect you enough to be honest. I recall a relationship in which I encountered what I now recognize as a pattern of dishonesty. Early on, a small white lie here or there seemed forgivable. But as time passed, I noticed that these little deceptions were not isolated incidents. They were a recurring habit. Every time I confronted my partner, I received excuses and empty promises. I felt increasingly isolated, unable to share my true self without fearing another lie. The betrayal of honesty left me questioning everything about our connection. It was then that I realized, if honesty is the cornerstone of love, then repeated lying is a betrayal that should never be forgiven. When you see a pattern of lies, it's a clear sign that you're not being valued as you deserve. No matter how sweet the words might be, if actions consistently contradict them, then you are building a relationship on unstable ground. The Stoic lesson here is to recognize that you deserve sincerity and transparency, not endless excuses. Observe patterns. Don't let one lie be your excuse for silence. Notice if it's a recurring behavior. Demand honesty. Respect yourself by insisting on the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. Know when to walk away. Understand that repeated deception signals a deeper issue that may never be resolved. 2. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a betrayal disguised as affection. Techniques such as guilt-tripping, gaslighting, and emotional blackmail may initially seem like expressions of care, but in reality, they are tools used to undermine your confidence and control your emotions. Manipulation twists reality, making you question your worth, and ultimately, it erodes the authentic love that should uplift you. There was a time when I found myself constantly second-guessing my decisions and questioning my value because of subtle manipulative behaviors from someone I deeply cared about. I was made to feel guilty for expressing even minor concerns, and every disagreement was spun to make me feel as if I were at fault. The emotional roller coaster left me drained and isolated. I eventually realized that manipulation was not an act of love, but an attempt to control me. The more I allowed it, the more I lost sight of who I truly was. Manipulation is dangerous because it slowly erodes your independence. A relationship should empower you, not make you a puppet to someone else's agenda. The Stoic approach is to maintain clarity of mind, recognize when your emotions are being exploited, and stand firm in your self-worth. Recognize the tactics. Learn the signs of guilt-tripping gaslighting and other manipulative behaviors. Set emotional boundaries. Protect your inner space and refuse to let manipulation dictate your self-worth. Seek clarity. Reflect on whether your feelings are genuinely yours or the product of someone else's influence. 3. Infidelity. Infidelity is more than just a physical betrayal. It's a profound emotional wound that shatters the trust and commitment that form the foundation of any relationship. A moment of infidelity can irreparably damage the sense of security and connection between partners. I once witnessed a close friend endure the heartbreak of infidelity. It wasn't merely the act itself, but the complete disregard for the promises made. The betrayal wasn't isolated. It was part of a recurring pattern of broken trust. No amount of apologies or promises of change could erase the deep-seated hurt. I saw firsthand how the betrayal of commitment led to long-term emotional scars, making it nearly impossible for my friend to trust again. The Stoic lesson here is clear trust is built over years, but can be shattered in mere seconds. When someone repeatedly violates that sacred trust, forgiving them can be a disservice to your own well-being. The strength of a relationship is measured not only by shared joy, but by the steadfast adherence to commitment and integrity. Prioritize self-respect. Recognize that you deserve loyalty and true commitment. Be honest about patterns. If infidelity is not an isolated incident, consider it a sign that the relationship is fundamentally broken. Decide with clarity. Understand that forgiveness in such cases may hinder your own healing process. 4. Betraying your secrets. When you confide your deepest thoughts and vulnerabilities in someone, you expect that trust to be honored. Betraying your secrets is not just a breach of trust. It's a betrayal of the intimate bond that should protect your innermost self. I once shared a deeply personal secret with a friend, expecting confidentiality and support. Instead, that trust was shattered when I discovered that the secret had been shared with others, transforming my vulnerabilities into fodder for gossip. The pain of knowing that someone I trusted had used my private feelings as a weapon was immense. It left me feeling exposed and betrayed, a stark reminder that not everyone is worthy of your deepest truths. A relationship that uses your vulnerabilities against you is toxic. The Stoics remind us that we should choose our company wisely and value those who respect our inner world. Once secrets are betrayed, the damage to the trust between individuals can be irreparable. Guard your vulnerabilities. Share your inner thoughts only with those who have proven themselves trustworthy. Reflect on trust. Once someone betrays your confidence, consider it a red flag for future interactions. Build healthy boundaries. Ensure that your personal revelations are met with respect and understanding. 5. Lack of accountability. Tu trash. Niem. Accountability is a sign of emotional maturity. When someone refuses to own up to their mistakes and constantly shifts the blame, it reveals a lack of integrity and a refusal to grow. Without accountability, a relationship is doomed to repeat the same destructive cycles. I remember a former partner who never took responsibility for his actions. Every time a mistake was made, he would point fingers, blame external circumstances, or even accuse me of causing the problem. This constant deflection left me feeling confused and trapped in a cycle of blame. I learned the hard way that if someone refuses to own their actions, it undermines the possibility of any genuine resolution. I eventually reached a point where I had to decide that living in an environment where accountability was absent was no longer an option for my emotional well-being. The Stoics teach that personal growth comes from acknowledging one's mistakes and learning from them. A person who continually avoids accountability not only shows a lack of maturity, but also undermines the potential for mutual respect in a relationship. Demand responsibility. Expect those around you to acknowledge and correct their mistakes. Reflect on patterns. Notice if the same issues arise repeatedly without resolution. Stand firm in your values. Recognize that accountability is non-negotiable for a healthy relationship. 6. Using you for personal gain. True love should be unconditional and free of ulterior motives. When someone enters a relationship solely to benefit from your resources, whether financial, emotional, or otherwise, they are not truly loving you. They are exploiting you. This form of betrayal reduces love to a transaction rather than a genuine connection. I once dated someone who seemed charming and caring at first. However, it didn't take long to realize that their interest in me was largely driven by what they could gain, be it financial support or social status. The more I gave, the more I was used as a stepping stone for their ambitions. I eventually recognized that I was being treated as a means to an end, rather than as an equal partner in a relationship. That realization was painful, but liberating, as it forced me to reevaluate what I truly deserved from a loving relationship. In the Stoic view, self-sufficiency and virtue are paramount. A relationship built on exploitation diminishes your inherent value. Real love is mutual. It nourishes both partners, rather than serving one person's selfish needs. Evaluate reciprocity. Consider whether the relationship is balanced in terms of giving and taking. Prioritize self-respect. Don't allow yourself to be used merely as a resource for someone else's gain. Set clear boundaries. Recognize when love turns transactional and have the courage to walk away. 7. Public humiliation. Disagreements and conflicts are inevitable, but there is a clear line when criticism turns into public humiliation. When a partner or friend mocks, insults, or shames you in front of others, it is a deliberate act of disrespect. Such behavior is not a mere accident. It is a pattern that signals a deep disregard for your dignity. I once attended a family gathering where, during a light-hearted conversation, my partner made a snide comment about my abilities in front of everyone. Although it was framed as a joke, the underlying message was painfully clear. He did not respect me enough to offer private feedback. That public humiliation stung deeply and made me question my self-worth. Over time, I realized that if someone is willing to belittle you in public, it is a clear signal that they do not truly value you. The Stoic ideal values dignity and respect above all. Public humiliation is an egregious violation of that dignity, and it is a betrayal that should never be ignored. No one deserves to be made to feel small, especially not by someone who claims to love them. Recognize the pattern. If public humiliation is recurring, understand that it is a sign of deeper disrespect. Demand respect. A healthy relationship honors you both privately and publicly. Choose your company. Consider whether you want to invest in relationships where your dignity is compromised. 8. Silent treatment. Silence, when used as a tool to punish or manipulate, is a toxic form of betrayal. The silent treatment, deliberately withholding communication to control or hurt you, can leave you feeling abandoned and devalued. It's a form of emotional abuse that undermines the trust and openness necessary for a healthy relationship. There was a time when I experienced the silent treatment from someone I cared about deeply. Rather than discussing our issues, they would simply withdraw, leaving me in a state of anxious uncertainty. Every unanswered message and every missed call deepened my sense of isolation. I tried to break the silence, but each attempt was met with cold indifference. Over time, I recognized that this tactic was not about resolving conflicts, but about gaining power over me. It was a painful lesson that communication is the backbone of any relationship, and that using silence as a weapon is a betrayal of that basic human connection. Stoicism teaches us that open dialogue and clear communication are essential for personal growth and mutual understanding. The silent treatment, by contrast, creates a toxic environment where emotions fester and trust deteriorates. Identify emotional abuse. Understand that consistent silence used as punishment is unacceptable. Encourage open dialogue. Demand that issues be addressed directly without resorting to punitive silence. Know when to walk away. Recognize that a relationship built on silence and manipulation is not worth preserving. 9. Abandonment in times of need. The true test of any relationship is revealed during times of crisis. When you are vulnerable and in need of support, a partner or friend who abandons you is committing one of the deepest betrayals. Their absence in your darkest moments indicates that their loyalty is conditional, based solely on convenience rather than genuine care. I have experienced a period in my life when I was grappling with significant personal challenges. I reached out to a close friend for support, expecting compassion and solidarity. Instead, I was met with indifference, an absence that left me feeling utterly alone. That moment of betrayal was not only painful, but also a turning point. It forced me to reassess my relationships and recognize that true loyalty is proven not in times of ease, but in times of hardship. I eventually learned to surround myself with those who stood by me during my struggles, and this shift greatly enriched my emotional well-being. The Stoic perspective holds that a true partner or friend is one who remains steadfast when the going gets tough. Abandonment during times of need is a betrayal that undermines the very essence of trust and loyalty. Assess loyalty. Evaluate who is truly there for you during challenging times. Value genuine support. Recognize that a relationship that only exists in good times is inherently unstable. Surround yourself wisely. Invest in relationships that prove their worth when you need them most. After exploring these 9 types of betrayals, we arrive at a crucial set of insights. Repeated lying erodes trust. Honesty is non-negotiable. If lies become a habit, they destroy the very foundation of any relationship. Emotional manipulation is abuse. Love should empower, not control. Manipulation disguised as care is a betrayal of your true worth. Infidelity breaks sacred trust. The betrayal of commitment leaves scars that often cannot be mended. Loyalty is the bedrock of true love. Betrayal of secrets is a violation. When you share your vulnerabilities, you deserve to have them respected, not weaponized. Lack of accountability stifles growth. A refusal to own mistakes hinders any chance of mutual understanding and progress. Using you for personal gain is exploitation. Love is not transactional. You deserve relationships that are based on genuine care, not on what you can provide. Public humiliation undermines dignity. No one should ever feel small in the eyes of others, especially not by someone they trust. Silent treatment is a tool of control. Communication is essential for a healthy relationship. Using silence to manipulate only deepens the wounds. Betrayal in times of need reveals true loyalty. The absence of support, when you are most vulnerable, is the ultimate betrayal. Betrayal in any form is a deeply painful experience, one that shakes the very core of who you are. Yet the Stoic path offers us a way to rise above this pain by reminding us that our true power lies within. Rather than allowing betrayal to define or destroy us, we can use it as a catalyst for profound personal growth. By recognizing and never forgiving these specific betrayals, we set clear boundaries that protect our inner peace and affirm our self-worth. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Ask yourself, have I allowed repeated lies, manipulation, or betrayal in times of need to erode my sense of self? What boundaries must I establish to ensure that my inner light remains undimmed? Embracing Stoic teachings means learning to value yourself so deeply that no external betrayal can ever rob you of your dignity. In my own journey, I learned that forgiveness is not about condoning the hurt or forgetting the betrayal. It's about making a conscious choice to prioritize my well-being. I discovered that sometimes the healthiest decision is to walk away, to protect the sacred space within you that no one should ever violate. As you navigate the complexities of relationships, remember these lessons. Honor the truth. Build your relationships on a foundation of honesty. Demand respect. Never settle for manipulation or exploitation. Stand firm in your values. Let your principles guide you through the storm. Protect your inner peace. Recognize that betrayal is a signal to realign your priorities and safeguard your emotional well-being. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the Stoic perspective on betrayal. May these insights empower you to build relationships based on mutual respect, unwavering trust, and genuine love. Remember, you are worthy of loyalty, honesty, and true partnership. Stay true to yourself, and let no betrayal define you, only the strength you cultivate within. If these reflections resonate with you, I invite you to share your own stories and insights. How have you navigated betrayals in your relationships? What boundaries have you set to protect your inner peace? Let's continue this conversation supporting one another on the journey toward deeper, more authentic connections. In summary, using the wisdom of Stoicism, we learn that certain betrayals, whether through repeated deception, emotional manipulation, infidelity, or even silence, are not simply challenges to be forgiven and forgotten. They are warning signs that compel us to protect our inner sanctum, to prioritize our self-worth, and to forge relationships where respect, trust, and accountability prevail. Embrace these lessons as stepping stones toward a life of unyielding integrity and inner strength. Stay stoic, remain vigilant, and above all, honor the precious value of your own truth.